Crescendo!
Excellent work to our audience counting that match down. Thank you very much. These teams, this one looks familiar. It's because we've played it before. Match number 87 being replayed due to an arena fault. Hopefully all goes smoothly this time, and Autonomous Period definitely went smoothly for our Red Alliance. They put 6 notes into the speaker and 36 points on the board. Blue Alliance going to play catch-up now with over 2 minutes to play, though, and all 3 blue robots in their scoring area. I see Sotobots 2557 put a note in the blue amp. Cooperation, of course, activated by both alliances. We'd expect nothing less at this point. Notes flying through the air. 9446 C Cube puts one up and into the blue speaker just as it amplifies 5 Blue Alliance points. Red Alliance puts notes into the speaker not amplified, only 2 points there. And just like that, the Blue Alliance has taken the lead, now giving it up, now taking it back. 51-47 with a minute and a half to play in the epitome of a back and forth match on the field right now. 360, the Revolution into the red amps. Iron Patriots, 4131, into the blue amps. Sotobots right behind them. And the Blue Alliance does appear to be working towards amplification just a bit faster. Red Alliance gets their speaker amplified first, but both amplified right now, and it's going to be all about who can put more notes in. 9036, Ramen Robotics on the defensive posture for the Red Alliance. They are in the thick of the Blue Alliance, trying to disrupt their scoring efforts as much as they can. And it may be working. The Red Alliance is back into the lead, 61-59. As we hit 45 seconds. 360 misses with their amp note. It is on the ground. Now they drop one onto the amp, pick up the one they had left before, and the Revolution managed to fully load the red amp all by their lonesome. Blue Alliance, though, back in the lead, 71-65, as we're under a half minute to play. Red Alliance with the amplified speaker, but nobody home. No Red Alliance robots even in that half of the field. And the amplification goes quietly into the night. Ramen Robotics the first on stage. Red Alliance has spotlit stage left. Robotoads trying to get on board there. The Revolution into the trap for the Red Alliance. Blue Alliance plays that risky game Josh talked about just a few moments ago. And looks like all robots on the blue side just parked. A dramatic end to our match 87 replay. We'll get our final scores and our final rankings coming up in just a bit. Scores are confirmed. Let's see the results. Match 87, take 2, goes to the Red Alliance. 90-85, and it does seem to be that end game difference. Stage points changing things. Red Alliance takes all 4 ranking points. Blue Alliance just 1. But it is the Sotobots of the Blue Alliance who are the highest ranked team at the end of it. They are in the number 9 position heading into our Alliance selection process. Josh, that's all. Qualification matches are complete. What did you see in match 87, and what did you see overall today?
Yeah, I could rate you a book, but I have to keep this within 3 or 4 minutes, so I'll do my best. The Red Alliance there just put up the epitome of what I would call leaving it all on the field. And I saw this from both angles. You know, we talked a few times this weekend about great defensive strategies that won a few matches. We talked a few times about great offensive or endgame strategies. And this Red Alliance brought it all. Maybe it's because it's the replay and you're like, whatever, we can change the bumpers over lunch anyway, who cares? If we look at our match highlight here, there's going to be 2 separate sides of the field to keep your eye on. The first thing I want to call out is over here on the Red Alliance, or excuse me, on the Blue Alliance side of the field, but it'll be a red robot. This is, I believe that might have been the 9036 machine. Don't hold me to that one, can't read it on this screen. But then also keep an eye, this is the 360 machine, as they're going to make their way, come on, over and across the field. this way towards their amp and their speaker, and they get left wide open on this process. So let's roll this highlight through. And just watch this red robot over here is being an absolute nuisance. They know that if they let this score open up at all, it's going to be a rough day. By doing this, they've kept 2 blue robots, one slowed down on their offensive cycles, and 2, they're keeping them tangled up over there because they realize, oops, if I go away, I can't help push that red robot out of the blue turf. I'm going to leave my alliance partner stuck offensively. The big thing the Red Alliance capitalized on is that this means 360 is free to do whatever they want over on this side of the field. Picking up first the amp score 1 at a time, 2 at a time, whatever. Then they get the amplification bonus we see down here and connect for the speaker numerous times in one cycle, sometimes even on their own with leftover notes. Absolutely clutch. And then at the end of the match, what it all comes down to, that strategy pays off, and that's all great. But then we get to see at the end of the match that notorious trap note from the Revolution. We've called it out so many times, and this time we can say it literally won the match. Just that difference. It would have been our first tie of the weekend otherwise.
I think that's true. And, we saw maybe a handful of trap notes all season long in the Pacific Northwest, and we've seen a bunch of them here at the championship. Just another example of how our teams are stepping it up as they've come down here to Portland, and they're trying to play for a spot in the playoffs, chance at the title of Pacific Northwest champions, and of course, that trip to Houston in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 22 teams advancing out of here, and it will be an absolute fight to make it. Brett, we do have alliance selections coming up. Do we want to talk a little bit about what's about to happen?
I think so. We have our final rankings coming out of the qualification period. We're looking at what our top 15 or so teams are going to look like here. Thanks to our friends at the Blue Alliance here. Josh, what do you notice about these rankings as we move into alliance selection?
Well, I noticed that they were absolutely unpredictable because the last time I brought this screen up, that was match 94 or so. We had 1778 was up a couple spots from where they are now, but they've come down to 6. Still the top 8. Not at all a bad place to be. They've shifted down. We saw the 9023 and 2521, who came in here #1 rated in the district. They've both moved up into our top 5. We already talked about earlier, like the 2046 and 2811. They were secure a long time ago. That was all fine. But this range, 3 through, I think I said it was 12, was completely undecided, and I regretfully did not save a screenshot of what this page looked like at the time. But from rough memory, not a single one of those teams is in the same spot they were when we last looked at it. And those points averages finally spread out a bit. We saw some of the teams rise up to the challenge, 3.1, what was this, 3.1, 3.0, and 2.9. And then some fall back down into that middle ground of 2.7, which, we talked about. I used to be a scout for my team way back in the day, right? And that middle range is really fun to scout out because you have to scout at that point. You can't cheat and use the leaderboard and be like, oh, well, they just put up a bunch of wins or a bunch of trap notes. Now the scouts are sweating because they have to look what mechanisms are going to complement my alliance well. What specific game strategies are we looking for? Somebody like 360 that can do the trap note at the end? Are we looking for somebody like the Robocats who plays brick wall defense? There's a lot of factors going into this, and it's going to be really exciting to watch.
I agree, Josh. I also want to call out, these rankings, a little bit of a mix of teams in terms of what you might have expected from history. Of course, 2046, long history of success at all levels of the district and at the district championship. But you look down these top teams here, 90-23 in 4th position. That's a second-year team, and they're going to be an alliance captain here at the district championship. You've got 25-21, CERT. They've been around for a long time, but just in the last couple of years started to come on and really be amongst the top performers. The Nerd Herd, 40-43. I don't have the date in front of me, but certainly not regular alliance captains at the district championships, possibly their first time. And then you also see, some of our highest performing teams historically not quite as high out. Of course, everybody's going to want to talk about 2910, Jack and the Bot, still doing great, number 12, but not as high as we're used to. 2930, Sonic Squirrels at number 10, Team Mean Machine down there at number 14. And of course, we definitely should call out on the screen, we've got a rookie team in our top 15 at the district championship, Team 9442 right there. What an outstanding accomplishment for them. So I always say, you and I talk about this off mic, I talk about it for other, it's fun when you come into an event and you guess what it's going to look like when everything's said and done, and you're wrong. It's no fun to know what the event's results are going to be when you start. It's a lot more fun to come in and be surprised and have things unexpected. And I, for one, can't wait to see how these teams match up for Alliance selection.
Lots of surprises, I'm sure, coming up, and lots of district points on the line depending on where you end up on the Alliance order. We're going to get things prepped here for Alliance selection. I am thrilled for this afternoon, folks. See you soon.
Thank you, Josh.